Sacramento, California. The largest dam removal project in United States history is underway along the California-Oregon border. A process that won't conclude until the end of next year, with the help of heavy machinery and explosives. But in some ways, removing the dams is the easy part. The hard part will come over the next decade as workers, partnering with Native American tribes, plant and monitor nearly 17 billion seeds as they try to restore the Klamath River and the surrounding land to what it looked like before the dams started to go up more than a century ago. The demolition is part of a national movement to return the natural flow of the nation's rivers and restore habitat for fish and the ecosystems that sustain other wildlife. More than 2,000 dams have been removed in the U.S. as of February, with the bulk of those having come down within the last 25 years. According to the advocacy group American Rivers, when demolition is completed by the end of next year, more than 400 miles, 640 kilometers of river will have opened for threatened species of fish and other wildlife. By comparison, the 65 dams removed in the U.S. last year combined to reconnect 430 miles, 690 kilometers of river along the Klamath. The dam removals won't be a major hit to the power supply. They produced less than 2% of power company PacifiCorp's energy generation when they were running at full capacity, enough to power about 70,000 homes. Though the hydroelectric power produced by dams is considered a clean, renewable source of energy, many larger dams in the U.S. West have become a target for environmental groups and tribes because of the harm they cause to fish and river ecosystems. The project will empty 3 reservoirs, over about 3.5 square miles, 9 square kilometers, near the California-Oregon border, exposing soil to sunlight in some places for the first time in more than a century. For the past 5 years, Native American tribes have gathered seeds by hand and sent them to nurseries with plans to sow the seeds along the banks of the newly wild river. Helicopters will bring in hundreds of thousands of trees and shrubs to plant along the banks, including wads of tree roots to create habitat for fish. This growth usually takes decades to happen naturally, but officials are pressing nature's fast-forward button because they hope to repel an invasion of foreign plants, such as star thistle, which dominate the landscape at the expense of native plants. Why not just let nature take its course? Well, nature didn't take its course when dams got put in. We can pretend this gigantic change in the landscape has not happened, and we can just ignore the fact that invasive species are a big problem in the West and in California, said Dave Meurer, Director of Community Affairs for Resource Environmental Solutions. The company leading the restoration project, PacifiCorp, built the dams starting in 1918 to generate electricity. The dams halted the natural flow of the river and disrupted the life cycle of salmon, a fish that spends most of its life in the Pacific Ocean, but returns to the chilly mountain streams to lay eggs. The fish are culturally and spiritually significant to a number of Native American tribes, who historically survived by fishing the massive runs of salmon that would come back to the rivers each year. A combination of low water levels and warm temperatures in 2000 led to a bacterial outbreak that killed more than 34,000 fish, mostly Chinook salmon. The loss jumpstart decades of advocacy from Native American tribes and environmental groups, culminating last year when federal regulators approved a plan to remove the dams. The river is our church. The salmon is our cross. That's how it relates to the people, so it's very sacred to us, said Kenneth Brink, Vice Chairman of the Car UK tribe. The river is not just a place we go to swim, it's life. It creates everything for our people. The project will cost $500 million, paid for by taxpayers, and PacifiCorp's ratepayers. Crews have mostly removed the smallest of the 4 dams. known as Kopko No 2. The other 3 dams are expected to come down next year. That will leave some homeowners in the area without the picturesque lake they have lived on for years. The Siskiyou County Water Users Association, which formed about a decade ago to stop the dam removal project, filed a federal lawsuit, but so far they have been unable to stop the demolition. Unfortunately, it's a mistake you can turn back from. Association President Richard Marshall said, "The water level in the lakes will drop between 3 feet and 5 feet 1 meter to 1.5 meters per day over the first few months of next year. Crews will follow that water line, taking advantage of the moisture in the soil to plant seeds from more than 98 native plant species including woolly sunflower, Idaho fescue, and blue bunch wheatgrass. Tribes have been invested in the process from the start. Resource Environmental Solutions hired tribal members to gather seeds from native plants by hand. The Yurok tribe even hired a restoration botanist. Each species has a role to play. Some, like lupine, grow quickly and prepare the soil for other plants. Others, like oak trees, take years to fully mature and provide shade for other plants. It's a wonderful marriage of tribal, traditional ecological knowledge and Western science," said Mark Bransom, CEO of the Klamath River Renewal Corporation, the nonprofit entity created to oversee the project. The previous largest dam removal project was on Washington State's Elwha River, which flows out of Olympic National Park into the Strait of Juan de Fuca. Congress in 1990 approved the demolition of the 2 dams on the river constructed in the early 1900s. After 2 decades of planning, workers finished removing them in 2014, opening about 70 miles, 113 kilometers of habitat for salmon and steelhead. Biologists say it will take at least a generation for the river to recover. But within months of the dams being removed, salmon were already recolonizing sections of the river they had not accessed in more than a century. The lower Elwha Lao Lam tribe, which has been closely involved in restoration work, is opening a limited subsistence fishery this fall for coho salmon. Its first since the dams came down. Brink, the Kar-UK tribe vice chair, hopes similar success will happen on the Klamath River multiple times per year. Brink and other tribal members participate in ceremonial salmon fishing using handheld nets. In many years, there have been no fish to catch. He said when the river gets to flow freely again, the people can also begin to worship freely again. He said,